Well, hello and welcome to the 2021 Australian Institute of Architects National Prizes announcements. I'm your host, Viv O'Connell, and it's my pleasure to bring you these announcements today, including the Institute's highest honour, the Gold Medal. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of lands across Australia, and I pay respect to all elders, past, present and emerging. Well, today's announcements recognise outstanding contributions to architecture and the built environment across Australia and beyond. And to set the scene, it's my pleasure to introduce the Institute's National President, Alice Hampson.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 Australian Institute of Architects National Prizes announcements. I'm Alice Hampson, National President. One of the great privileges of National President is announcing prizes and awards to those in our community who have attained extraordinary achievements. It is my pleasure to share these prize-winning announcements today and to bestow the Institute's highest honour, the Gold Medal. Thank you for joining this virtual announcement. It is gratifying that in these COVID times we can share these presentations with members, colleagues and architectural enthusiasts across the country. This year is a significant one for the Australian Institute of Architects as we mark the Institute's 90th anniversary as the national peak body for the profession. Our celebrations began in November 2020, 90 years from the first general meeting, and we are continuing to highlight and celebrate this accomplishment throughout the year. The prizes announced today recognise the outstanding contributions of some of our members to the field of architecture across Australia and beyond. All our worthy winners work exceptionally hard, and I offer heartfelt congratulations from everyone at the Institute.
Thanks, Alice. Well, let's get underway with the first announcement, the Student Prize for the Advancement of Architecture. This prize recognises the most outstanding contribution by a SONA member towards the advancement of architecture, including through leadership, publication, community engagement or education. And the 2021 Student Prize for the Advancement of Architecture goes to Alvin Zhu from the University of Queensland. Alvin Zhu has presented a thoughtful approach to articulating the transition from architectural student to architectural professional. In Projects by People, he has delivered a resource of particular relevance for architectural students of 2021. This online initiative, with its intention of communicating the people and personalities behind projects, offers a beautifully articulated and diverse suite of material as a conduit to the architectural community when it is needed most. Alvin has taken global experiences and collated them in a beautifully considered manner. Congratulations, Alvin Zhu.
Hey everyone. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the jury and the Institute for presenting me with this award. Considering how many students are out there doing some really fantastic things, I am extremely honoured and grateful to be awarded this prize. You know, when I first started Projects by People, I never expected it to succeed in the ways that it did. It really began as something as simple as taking a step back from architecture to appreciate and acknowledge the people behind the projects. So rather than talk about what I've done, I really just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that really made everything I've done possible in the first place. First and foremost, I really just want to thank my dad, my mum, my granddad, and all my friends inside and outside of architecture for always supporting me no matter what I tried. I want to thank the professionals that were generous enough to lend me their time when I started my first video series, the architecture practices that were kind enough to invite me in and welcome me to their practices to film, Maddie from the Institute for giving me the chance to work with SONA in the first place. The list honestly just goes on and on. I've been so blessed to have been given so much support over the years, and I really want to use this platform to give back to the community and hopefully give more people the opportunity to experience the kind of support that I've been through people. Thank you very much.
Thanks for those comments, Alvin. Great video and congratulations once again. And now to the BlueScope Glenn Murcott Student Prize, proudly supported by the Institute's principal partner, BlueScope. This biannual prize was established to recognise outstanding architectural student work, which demonstrates excellence in response to place, technology and Australian culture. And it's my pleasure to hand over to Tom Tyndall from BlueScope to announce the winner of this year's prize.
Hi, I'm Tom Tyndall and I'm delighted to be presenting this year's BlueScope Glenn Murcott Student Prize. I love this award. The quality of the entrance is so amazing and professional, and it's so great to know that the future of architecture in Australia is in such strong hands. So congratulations to all of the entrants, but there can only be one winner. So I'm very pleased to announce that the winner of the 2021 BlueScope Glenn Murcott Student Prize is Kelly Norchie from the University of Queensland. Congratulations, Kelly.
The jury commends the evocative precision evident at every scale of Kelly Norchie's project, Remove, Repair, Reciprocity. The decision to work in a seemingly nondescript place, a residual corridor of industrial and residential fringe caught between high-speed transport corridors, led to a lyrical investigation of the site's broader, latent ecology. Through this intellectual and physical framework, Norchie creates the conditions for profound ecological and social change. The jury was inspired by the sensitivity of the approach, the sophisticated resolution of its architectural response, the deft frugality and conceptual richness of the building's tectonic language, and its exquisite expression through architectural drawing. Congratulations, Kelly Norchie.
I would first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians, the Yagara and Turrbal people of the lands from which I'm speaking from today. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you to the Institute for this award. I'm really humbled and encouraged by the support. Thank you to my academic supervisors, Jessica Spresser and Doug Neal, who supported and mentored me during this project. I'm also really appreciative of the encouragement by the School of Architecture at the University of Queensland, particularly in such a challenging time of adjusting to online studio during the events of last year. The theme of repair is something I've been thinking a lot about during this project. How can we as designers repair through thinking about the history of a site, what used to be in that place, what decisions might offer the capacity to meaningfully coexist within an urban and natural environment and ecosystem. And as Australian architects and design professionals, we are always working on top of the lands of our First Nations people, and this acknowledgement offers space to recenter First Nations people's practices of placemaking in urban settings. And this inquiry into landscape conditions and Indigenous understandings of place is a subtle yet powerful driver of this project. And although these understandings are necessarily imperfect, these areas of study offer such an important opportunity to enrich not only our work, but our lives and contemporary culture. So thank you again to the Institute for recognising the optimism that underpins this project. It's so very exciting to be on the journey in the architecture profession, which is so very privileged to possess agency for positive change. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Kelly, and thanks Tom and BlueScope for your long-standing support of the Institute and this prize. Now to the Dulux Study Tour, proudly supported by the Institute's major national partner, Dulux. Now in its 14th year, the Dulux Study Tour is an opportunity to be part of an exciting and coveted program that fosters Australia's next generation of architectural talent. Staying local for the first time, the Dulux Study Tour will give some of Australia's brightest emerging architects the opportunity to explore the very best of Australian architecture and meet inspiring Australian architects in November this year. The prize is awarded to 5 emerging architects on the basis of their individual contributions to architectural practice, education, design excellence and community involvement. And it's my pleasure to introduce Jevon Dickinson from Dulux to say a few words before we announce this year's winners.
The first Dulux Study Tour kicked off in 2008 in Manchester, London, and has evolved into the iconic program that it is today. Dulux is proud of the immense benefits the tour brings to the recipients, to the Institute and the wider community. This year, for the first time, we'll get to explore our own backyard and gain access and exposure to our very own exceptional Australian architectural practices. And now, let's see who'll be joining the 2021 Dulux Study Tour.
And the 2021 Dulux Study Tour participants are Carly Martin from Akimbo Architecture, New South Wales. Elizabeth Walsh from Cumulus Studio in Tasmania. Madeline Sewell from Breathe Architecture in Victoria, Nick Roberts from Roberts Gray Architects in Victoria, and Simon Rachowski from Studio Plus 3 in New South Wales. Congratulations to all the winners who will be involved in curating the tour this year, and thanks for that message, Jevon. And now for the Neville Quarry Architectural Education Prize. This prize recognises the significance of architectural education in promoting and improving the built environment. It recognises an outstanding contribution in teaching, scholarship, research, leadership and community engagement in both the higher education and wider community forums. And this year, the jury have awarded the prize jointly to two outstanding recipients: Professor John MacArthur from the University of Queensland and Associate Professor Conrad Hayman from RMIT University. Professor John MacArthur's leadership, teaching and PhD supervision have influenced a generation of Australian students, practitioners and researchers. With over 30 years of championing new architectural insights, his extensive publications bridge the academic and wider culture of architectural practice through heritage, criticism and design. An insightful storyteller, he also generously, eloquently and masterfully presents complex scholarly revelations with good humour, humility and a generous sharing of knowledge. Joint Prize recipient, Associate Professor Conrad Hayman, has changed our understanding of Australian architecture. His challenging of the romantic and sometimes condescending view of our colonial forebears has been foundational to a local culture of architecture for and of this place. He is a mentor to staff and students, supports emerging architects and historians, and through his writings, lectures and teaching, he colourfully renders Australian architecture in all its specificity and differences. Congratulations, Professor John MacArthur and Associate Professor Conrad Hayman.
Yeah, I'd like to start by thanking the colleagues who nominated me and the jury for their very kind remarks. It's something of a cliche, I know, but I'd just like to acknowledge that I've learned as much from the students that I've taught as they've learnt from me, I'm sure. Over a long career, I've met some remarkable young people who've gone on to some great things. It's really been a great pleasure. I've always been fairly committed to the Albertian project of thinking of architecture as both an intellectual pursuit and a contribution to the whole of knowledge and society. And I've always thought there's nothing sadder than a culture where in an architecture school students have to choose between being good with their mouse or their pencil or good with their keyboard and their books. They should be both, and I've had the good fortune to meet many such people as students and as colleagues, and I've really appreciated the opportunity to think with them. So thanks very much for this award. I really appreciate it.
This Neville Quarry Award is a delight. It's a real thrill, and I'm most grateful to the Institute for this honour and to be awarded it alongside John MacArthur, whose friendship and scholarship I've valued since we first made contact in 1991. I think of the previous remarkable winners. They include 3 from RMIT's School of Architecture and Urban Design. I think of the 25 years at Monash Arts, Clayton, of the 9 years at Lovell Chen, learning as much about architecture yet again, and the 9 years of enjoyment absolute at RMIT. I like to think this award recognises shared work. In history and criticism, you argue a case through teaching and writing, and the two feed each other. Win, lose, or maybe. You argue particular approaches to architecture and communities of practice. You share these with audiences, and their response shapes your work. Your debate your conversations, your writing, your recording. The award is a reminder. What has unfolded in lectures, teaching and research between myself and all the students I've been privileged to meet. There's all the encouragement and generosity of my mentors, my long-suffering editors, my colleagues, my friends, and my family. Again, thank you.
Thanks so much for those comments, John and Conrad, and these beautiful medallions will be on their way to you very shortly. Congratulations once again to you both. And now to the National President's Prize, which recognises an individual's contribution to the advancement of architecture in any significant way, including support of the architectural profession, effective advocacy, architectural debate and discourse, community engagement, or any other notable contribution. And to make this announcement, I'd like to hand back to Alice Hampson.
Thank you, Viv. The National President's Prize recognises an individual's contribution to the advancement of architecture in any significant way, including support of the architectural profession, effective advocacy, architectural debate and discourse, community engagement, or any other notable contribution. As National President, I am delighted to award this year's National President's Prize to Andrew Mackenzie.
The National President's Prize is an opportunity to recognise an individual who advances architecture from outside the profession. The 2021 prize acknowledges Andrew Mackenzie's masterly and comprehensive career, spanning nearly a quarter of a century, as an exemplary architectural writer, curator, editor, publisher, advisor and procurement specialist. Andrew has stood at the vanguard of current issues in the profession and supported the profession's issues, even at the risk of prejudicing his own commercial interests, with a generous disposition prioritising the profession of architecture and local architects. His magnanimous efforts have quietly elevated the profession's standing and the prestige of local architects and architecture. Congratulations, Andrew Mackenzie.
In accepting this prize, I must immediately acknowledge that just about everything I do requires collaboration. Whether it's editing and publishing books, participating in debates and conferences, or advising on design competitions, the one common theme in my work is the opportunity it gives me to work with great people. Most notably, that includes my long-standing friend, collaborator, and co-director of Uro Publications, Matt Ward. In 1993, I started working at the AA in London, running the gallery. In the nearly 30 years that has passed, it has become increasingly clear to me that architecture takes many forms. Yes, architecture's greatest manifestation is in buildings, writ large in our cities. But it is also in the sketched ideas that become scaled plans and sections. It's in the photographs that disseminate new architecture around the world. And it's in the words that have sat alongside buildings and architecture for centuries. It has been and continues to be a great pleasure to work at that intersection of buildings, images, and words, which I hope contributes in some way to how we think, understand, and value architecture now and into the future. Thank you for this tremendous honour.
Congratulations, Andrew. The next announcement is the Paula Whitman Leadership in Gender Equity Prize, which recognises the exceptional leadership and outstanding contribution of an Institute member to the advancement of gender equity in architectural practice, education and governance. The prize is an initiative of the Institute's National Committee for Gender Equity and is named after the late Paula Whitman, Queensland architect, university professor and renowned advocate for gender equity in the profession. And it is my great pleasure to announce that the 2021 Paula Whitman Leadership in Gender Equity Prize is awarded to Suzanne Hunt from Suzanne Hunt Architects. Suzanne Hunt is an exemplary role model and mentor who gives freely of her time to deliver a pathway and vision for recognition, representation and visibility, with promising outcomes for women in the profession. An engaged agitator in the policy arena and an often provocative public speaker determined to improve opportunities for all professionals, she effectively advocates on issues that improve gender balance and the welfare of women and families. Nationally, she established Work Women Wisdom, a co-mentoring forum that provides women with a safe networking environment to communicate and share experiences, seek advice, support one another, mentor and reflect. The jury commends Susie's influence and impact in challenging the status quo. Congratulations, Suzanne Hunt.
I am so very proud to be this year's recipient of the Paula Whitman Prize for Gender Equity. I want to thank my two wonderful friends who nominated me, Katrina Chisholm and my life partner, Neil Cowney. When Neil told me he was nominating me, I laughed and said, "Don't be ridiculous," but he persisted. I thank my referees, Professor Warren Kerr and the Honourable Cheryl Edwards AM, both of whom demonstrated to me that supporting a young architect in her 20s, effectively dropping the ladder, can make a tangible difference to her life and confidence, and I thank you both sincerely. I also want to thank you for your ongoing mentorship of me. To Professor Sandra Kaji-O'Grady, who as a graduate taught me the theory behind gender equity as we worked side by side on probably the most hostile work environment for a woman I've ever experienced to this day. To Michael Woodhams, the WA State Manager of the WA chapter during my term as President, for his unwavering support and coming up with the name Work Women Wisdom, which he could have picked something easier. It is a bit of a tongue twister. And to the WA chapter's Gender Equity Task Force for supporting my nomination. I want to thank all of those people who have supported me through my career, and thank you all to the judges for selecting me.
Congratulations once again, Susie. And now to the Leadership in Sustainability Prize, which recognises exceptional leadership and an outstanding contribution to the advancement of sustainability and the built environment. This prize recognises an individual or group's achievements through architecture, effective advocacy, education and community engagement. And the jury this year was once again struck by the high calibre of candidates and has jointly awarded the Leadership in Sustainability Prize to two individuals who are considered to be inseparable in their contributions. Caroline Pidcock from Pidcock and Tone Wheeler from Environa Studio. Caroline Pidcock and Tone Wheeler are founders of the movement in Australia to demonstrate how sustainability can be delivered in the built environment. By contributing to almost every professional and community-based group in New South Wales that has had a sustainability agenda for the built environment, Caroline Pidcock has shown that architects must attack the agenda through civil society. As a result, she has contributed to many government changes in regulations and guidelines, as well as being an effective media spokesperson. As an academic and researcher, Tone Wheeler has helped create many of the guidelines for how to achieve sustainability in the built environment, including the nationwide House Energy Rating Scheme, NatHERS, and the Building Sustainability Index, BASICS. In advocacy, community engagement and policy development, he has become the voice of architecture through his public speaking, media interviews and regular Tone on Tuesday column, while his architectural practice continues to deliver projects that demonstrate his leadership in sustainability. Caroline and Tone are both outstanding in the time, energy and creativity they have provided to the profession and to the broader community over several decades. Congratulations, Caroline Pidcock and Tone Wheeler.
Well, I am so excited to be receiving this prize, and I really would like to thank the AIA for their endorsement of the path I've taken, and it's just really lovely to be recognised in this way. I would actually like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land we are part of and pay my respect to their elders, past, present and emerging. I would really like to honour their ways of thinking, being and doing as they care for country. We have so much to learn from them about shaping our relationship to the world as we look to the future we need to create. When I realised that green architecture, as espoused by Robert and Ben DeVale's book, was the direction my nascent practice would take in 1992, I headed straight to the Environment Committee in the New South Wales chapter of the RAIA. I knew I would find people with the knowledge and interests I needed and wanted to share. It's been a wonderful journey since then, finding out what that means, with many unexpected tacks as I adapted to changing circumstances that life delivers. There's so much more, though, for architects to do to realise the opportunities of being catalysts for the better future we need. I'd particularly like to thank all the people who have worked with me in my practice and all the clients who've had faith in me. They've been pivotal in helping explore and develop the ideas and opportunities about what sustainability can mean and have enabled me to make contributions in the wider profession and community. I'm also delighted to share this prize with Tone Wheeler, the man who started my involvement in teaching way back in 1986. Our paths have crossed and entwined many times since, and I continue to be inspired by his contributions. Congratulations, Tone, and thanks very much, AIA.
I thank the AIA for this prestigious honour. It's significant because architects have been the first responders in the climate crisis. We're the profession most attuned to the future and sustainability. I've been at this caper for almost 50 years, long enough to see the alternative lifestyle become the mainstream lifestyle, to go from hippie to hip. The first half of my career was as a proselytiser, the second as a practitioner. And over that time, I taught over 1,000 students in design studio, and that helped me to define a design process to highlight social and environmental solutions. In turning to practice what I preached, in Verona Studio eschewed the glamour homes to search out socially progressive projects, particularly with not-for-profits, like the Uniting Church and their Wayside Chapel, and now Church's Housing, and more recently our projects with Indigenous peoples. I had a lot of help in this quest from sometime collaborators, Greg Vickers, Caroline Pidcock, and the late Chris Reardon, and from all of the staff present, and my partner in Verona, Janet Connor. I thank the AIA and the jury for the prize.
Congratulations once again, Caroline and Tone. Well, that brings us now to the final announcement, the Australian Institute of Architects Gold Medal. The Australian Institute of Architects Gold Medal is the highest honour the Institute can bestow and has been awarded annually to Australia's most notable architects since 1960. It recognises those who have produced work of great distinction, advancing architecture and the profession. And now it's back to National President Alice Hampson for the announcement.
It's my absolute delight to announce the winner of the 2021 Gold Medal. It's the highest honour for the Australian Institute of Architects, and the winner for this year's award is Donald Watson.
For contemporary Australian architecture, the term Renaissance man may well be outdated, but it captures Donald Robert Watson's remarkable prowess across the diverse areas of architectural agency. As a design architect, Watson's built work traverses scales, typologies, and public and private commissions, and he has received the highest accolades of peer and public review, 26 National and State Institute awards and commendations across 8 categories, including the Robin Boyd Award for Residential Architecture for Campbell House in 1989. That same year, he embraced a radically different portfolio, joining the Queensland Department of Public Works, where over the next 15 years he designed 11 TAFE buildings throughout southeast Queensland, described as among the finest examples of postmodernism in Queensland. As a researcher, Watson has been recognised as Queensland's foremost architectural historian, receiving the most esteemed awards in the field, and his research publications are the foundation for historical studies in the state, opening the door for contemporary practitioners to design informed, contextually responsive architecture. His services to the Institute, the profession, and the public have been generous and strategic, encompassing heritage advice, public exhibitions, and curated lecture series, as well as ongoing advocacy for the preservation of architectural works, both archival and built. As global crises rage, Watson's elevation of his beloved Queensland context demonstrates the power of the local to inform a national sensitivity to place. In conferring the 2021 Gold Medal on Donald Watson, the Australian Institute of Architects celebrates a lifetime of insightful, inventive and exemplary practice. Congratulations, Donald Watson.
And I'm delighted that Don could join us today in the studio. I'd like to welcome Don. It's wonderful to have you here today, Don. It's a culmination of so many years, decades of work and achievement in architecture. Would you like to say some words?
Yes, thank you, Alice. And thank the Australian Institute of Architects, the Gold Medal jury, and those who made the nomination. I am greatly honoured and in awe of my predecessors as gold medalists. Like the ice skater Stephen Bradbury, the award of a gold medal was a surprise, but one which is truly gratifying. I thank all those involved. I believe in luck, but can do without miracles. But as Thomas Jefferson, a notable architect, observed, the harder he worked, the luckier he got. I've had a lucky career, but I've worked hard. Like most architects, and possibly a majority of the Institute's members, I have been an employee for most of my career. Recognition of the contribution made by backroom men and women is now accepted, but speaking as a researcher, their specific contributions can be hard to identify. This award to me acknowledges the contributions made by employees to Australian architecture and the Institute. In making my contribution, I have benefited greatly from the support and assistance of my employers, collaborators, colleagues, clients and builders, and give them my thanks. Having mostly avoided the essential roles of getting work and keeping the office open, I am indebted to my employers for their success in this regard and their willingness to allow me a public role. Giving awards for lifelong addiction is uncommon. I'm still addicted, but it's lucky that architecture is addictive. Despite being endlessly engaging, it is also risky. Risk is at its core on the part of clients, bosses, designers, builders, and even award juries. But as a profession, we manage risk well. Removing or avoiding risk is a recipe for mediocrity and irrelevance. The Australian Institute of Architects and its predecessors have been central to architectural practice in Australia for over 150 years. I have been a beneficiary and willing participant in its work. I again thank the award jury and those hard workers who contributed to the awards program, including Bosch, sponsor for the Gold Medal Tour. I thank those who generously wrote articles, contributed anecdotes, and put together the issue of Architecture Australia. And lastly, I want to thank my family, in particular my wife, Judith Mackay, for their love, support and encouragement. Hopefully we are nearing the end of 18 difficult months for the profession, the Institute, all Australians and in fact the whole world. With luck I will have a chance to meet some of you later this year. Thanks.
Oh, Don, they were magnificent words and very astute. So thank you so much, and we look immensely forward to your up-and-coming Gold Medal Tour and your A.S. Hook Memorial Address later in the year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alice, and congratulations, Don. And as Alice mentioned, the Gold Medal Tour will be starting up later in the year. The tour is supported by the Institute's national corporate partner, Bosch. I'd like to thank Bosch for their support, which means the Institute's members in every state and territory will have the opportunity to hear the Gold Medal presentation in person. For dates and more tour details, keep an eye on the Institute's website, and the chapters will also be getting the word out. And that now concludes the 2021 National Prizes announcements. I'd like to congratulate all of the recipients once again and thank all the jurors for their time and their deliberations. I'd also like to thank the corporate partners, BlueScope, Dulux and Bosch, for your support of the Institute. And a reminder that we're about to kick off a series of 7 Queensland Regional Architecture Awards announcements, starting this Saturday night at 7 p.m. with the Brisbane Regional Awards. And just a note to tune in for the live-streamed State and Territory Awards, which will begin on the 4th of June. You'll find the details for all these streams on the Institute's website and the description box below. I hope you can join us. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. See you soon.